So, does the achievement gap exist? Yes. In reference to today's conference, I'd like to share with you how I have made a conscious decision to be the bridge in my classroom and what has helped some of the successes that I've had over the past 4 years. As Isaac Newton stated, sometimes we build too many walls and not enough bridges and get hung up on what I have come to realize: two concepts, the who and the what. But instead, I challenge you to dive into and explore the idea of how and why. When I started doing this, I started seeing a major shift in my classroom after making a tremendous uphill battle my very first year at Melrose and a slightly less rugged journey my second year at Melrose. Believe it or not, at year 3, that's when I really started to see some magic happen. It was during that time that I was able to arrive to work and leave from work both with a smile and in chipper spirits. I can't necessarily say that my other colleagues had the exact same experience. At some point in time, I kind of felt a little bit like a jerk that I was so happy and they were struggling. But I can say that this happened because of my intentional mind shift of what my focus will be. Think of this. If you're focusing on the who and the what, who's off task? Who's the alpha in the room? Who's to blame for all of the problems, for what's going on in your classroom? What kid is going to be playing? What kid is going to blow up today? What academic levels the kids are at that is impeding them from getting the content that you want? What set of alphabets have been attached to the end of each child's name: ADHD, EBD, and all the other letters that they have? Then you're wasting a lot of your valuable energies. Most of the times, you can't change what. And definitely a lot of the times, you can't change the who. Parents send the best student that they have to you every day. And that's nothing that you can really particularly do about that. When you're thinking about kids, they're just like all humans. You can't just wave a magic wand and change them. They have to make a conscious effort to make a choice to change. And they make this choice through seeing better options that's presented to them that will work in their favor. So you can help them change their minds and their outlook, but ultimately you don't have an active magic wand that you can change who they are. But all is not lost. What you can actually change to a group of students that are obligated to come to your classroom in your space that maybe lack interest in your content, lack trust in you or trust in themselves and their ability to succeed. I'd say my claim to fame in my classroom has been that shift for how and why, because I've experienced that too. Before anything is enacted in my room, I first ask myself, how do I want the result to look? Because that I have active control over. I have active control over how I want it to look and how I need to get there. Think about these questions. How will my class flow in terms of lesson structure? How can I incorporate more learning standards? How can I sneak in a little remediation of skills when it's necessary for my class that's struggling with the concept? How can I be more strategic in planning on purpose? Or is my learning in my classroom kind of haphazard and it's accidental? How will my class enter? How will my class leave? How will my students know what's next? How can I get them to have buy-in? These are all questions that maybe you may have at one point in time or another asked yourself. Or if you maybe have not asked yourself, maybe you should consider. And then the magical question that, oh my goodness, my 3-year-old asks me all the time, WHY? why. Once you have started conquering your hows, now you need to understand, why is it important to even do that how? Why is it important that your classroom has a flow in your lesson? Why is it important that your class has multiple standards that you're addressing? Why is that benefiting the students? Why is it important to enter a certain way or dismiss a certain way? Why not just do it however you want and see what happens? Why is it comforting to a student to have that level of predictability of what's coming up next in the lesson? There's some scholars that, depending on whatever those alphabets are at the end of their name, they need some level of comfort in knowing, this is how I need to self-regulate to be able to be successful in this 45 minutes of time. I know that I have this amount of time to complete this activity, and then we're going to move on to something else, and I know what that something else is, and I can expect what that is. Continuing on, that's something to ponder. Why is student buy-in important for all? Not just for the students, but why is it important for them to buy in for you? I don't think I necessarily need to answer that question, because you're probably thinking maybe a million reasons why it would be beneficial to you for them to buy in. But just briefly, I'll share the whole flow of my class. And for everything that the students do, there is a reason and a purpose for it. And this is how a typical day starts. I meet my class at the door. They knock so that I am aware that they're there, and they're invited into the learning environment. There's music that's playing in the background so that they know that they are walking into a musical space, given that I teach out of a very tiny little portable in the back of the room, in the back of the school campus. They are reminded to walk past the bookshelf near the door on purpose that is there, pick up their materials, walk to their seats, place them underneath their seats, and to stand so that we can do what our school calls the scholar model. Now, the whole reason of this is to start with a positive interaction when they first get to me, and then also so that they feel ownership in their learning environment, that they're responsible for getting their materials, and they're responsible for managing them as well. We do our scholar model, which reminds them what their responsibilities are as a scholar and a student at our school. After that, we sit and I remind them what the expectations are for sitting. And as I share with them, that expectation is only so that it keeps them safe and it keeps everyone comfortable. We go through vocal warm-ups, our rhythm warm-ups. Next, we go into our learning goal for the day, which is our active lesson, then followed by our special projects, in which this gives me an opportunity to infuse more hands-on music that maybe sometimes my lessons may not lend to, as well as a dedicated time when it's time for programs, that this is the time block that we actually spend to practice without sacrificing a whole lesson just to practice for a program. After our special projects, the scholars themselves are responsible for cleanup and wrapping up the lesson. Again, reinforcing the ownership of their learning space and managing their materials. And then we do a treasure box raffle. In the treasure box raffle, each treasure box ticket has a chair number on it, and 2 numbers are pulled out, and if those scholars have been exemplary in their participation and their engagement in class, they know that they can look forward to at least 2 people, unless I'm having a very super day and I call on more, will get a chance to earn treasure box. Our final activity is our exit affirmation, which is a result of one of our Elevate Arts summer trainings, when I was contemplating how can I build not only the culture of my classroom, but make an overall influence, since I teach all of the school, culture shift and environmental shift on my school campus. And so our exit affirmation the students do participate in a call and response in which I state, one voice can change a room. A quote that I heard from former President Barack Obama. And the students then replied to me, I am who I am because we all are. And it reinforces not only that you can be a powerful individual, but at the same time, realize that the group success is more important than you having individual success and letting those around you fail and succeed. And just based off that alone, and having positive rules, which my favorite is rule number 2, be supportive. This is a bully-free, laugh-free zone. It has gotten kids to be more supportive of each other when there are students, there are scholars that refuse to participate, try and then they give up part way. They encourage each other. They celebrate each other. They celebrate themselves when they reach high levels of achievement on assessments in my classroom. And that was something that I can assure you was not in existence in my room 4 years ago. I hope any of these little nuggets are helpful to you, but if you get nothing else from what is being said, I hope that you get this from me. It's to focus on your how and your why, and that will drive everything that you do from the moment your kids come into your door to the moment they come out, and it will permeate not only from in your room, but also across your campus, and you will see some amazing changes that happen. Enjoy the rest of the conference, and I've enjoyed making this video for you. Good luck.